Money. It courses through the veins of our civilizations, fueling trade, powering economies, and shaping destinies. From the bustling marketplaces of ancient empires to the lightning-fast transactions of the digital age, money has been an ever-evolving force. It's the lifeblood that keeps our world moving. But have you ever stopped to ponder where it all began? How did we go from trading seashells on a beach to exchanging digital tokens with a tap on our phones? The story of money is a captivating saga, a testament to human ingenuity and our relentless pursuit of progress. It's a story of innovation, adaptation, and the constant search for better ways to exchange value and build prosperous societies. Join us now as we embark on an extraordinary journey through time, tracing the evolution of money from its humble beginnings to its revolutionary present. We'll delve into the annals of history, uncovering the fascinating origins of bartering systems, the rise of commodity money, and the invention of coins that would forever alter the course of commerce. We'll trace the emergence of paper money and the intricate workings of banking systems that brought about new levels of financial sophistication. And finally, we'll arrive at the digital frontier, where cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have ignited a financial revolution, challenging the very foundations of traditional monetary systems. Fasten your seatbelts as we navigate the dynamic landscape of money, exploring its past, dissecting its present, and contemplating its exhilarating future. Imagine a world without money, where possessions were traded for other goods and services. This was the reality for our ancestors, who relied on bartering systems to fulfill their needs. Farmers exchanged livestock for tools, artisans traded crafts for food, and communities relied on a delicate balance of give and take. But bartering had its limitations. Finding someone who wanted what you had and had what you needed was no easy feat. The absence of a standardized unit of value made fair trades a challenge. What was a cow worth in terms of chickens, or a handcrafted tool in terms of grain? The lack of divisibility posed another hurdle. You couldn't exactly trade half a cow for a basket of fish. As societies grew and trade expanded, the need for a more efficient system became evident. Enter commodity money, objects with intrinsic value that gained acceptance as mediums of exchange. Shells, beads, salt, and even livestock emerged as early forms of currency. These commodities possessed qualities that made them suitable as money. They were durable, portable, and relatively scarce. Cowrie shells, for example, with their distinctive shapes and durability, found widespread use as currency in ancient China and parts of Africa. Salt, a vital commodity for preservation and flavor, became a valued form of money in various cultures. These early forms of money, while rudimentary, represented a significant leap forward from bartering. They provided a common language of value, facilitating trade and fostering economic growth. Fast forward millennia, and we find ourselves at the cusp of a new financial era. The advent of the internet and digital technologies has ushered in an unprecedented era of innovation, transforming every aspect of our lives, including money. Just as paper money revolutionized commerce centuries ago, digital currencies are poised to reshape the financial landscape in profound ways. At the forefront of this digital revolution stands Bitcoin, the first and most well-known cryptocurrency. Created in 2009 by the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin introduced the world to blockchain technology, a decentralized and transparent ledger that records all transactions across a network of computers. Bitcoin's emergence was a watershed moment, challenging the long-held notion that money required the backing of governments or financial institutions. Unlike traditional currencies, which are subject to inflation and manipulation, Bitcoin's supply is finite and governed by a predetermined algorithm. This decentralized nature, coupled with its cryptographic security, has made Bitcoin an attractive alternative for those seeking financial freedom and privacy. But Bitcoin is just the tip of the iceberg. The success of Bitcoin has spawned a plethora of other cryptocurrencies, each with its unique features and use cases. Ethereum, for instance, goes beyond simple transactions, offering a platform for decentralized applications and smart contracts. From stablecoins pegged to fiat currencies to privacy coins designed for anonymity, the world of cryptocurrencies is vast and constantly evolving. This rapid pace of innovation can be both exhilarating and daunting. It's a wild west of sorts, with opportunities and risks abound. But one thing is certain, the digital dawn has arrived, and cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Before the clinking of coins or the rustle of banknotes, there was a time when trade was a much simpler yet more cumbersome affair. Picture a time when communities thrived on the exchange of goods and services, their interactions governed by the ancient practice of bartering. This system, as old as civilization itself, formed the bedrock of early economies, laying the foundation for the complex financial systems we know today. In a world untouched by the concept of money, bartering was the lifeblood of trade. Farmers, the backbone of these early communities, would bring their harvests of grain, fruits, and vegetables to the marketplace, eager to trade for tools, textiles, or livestock. Skilled artisans, their hands adept at shaping clay, metal, or wood, would showcase their wares, hoping to exchange their craftsmanship for essential goods. This exchange of goods and services, driven by necessity and the desire for a better life, was the engine that drove early economic activity. Bartering, at its core, was a system built on trust and mutual benefit. It was a direct exchange of value, a negotiation where both parties sought a fair and equitable deal. A farmer offering a plump goat for a sturdy plow, for instance, would carefully assess the quality of the tool, weighing its worth against the value of his prized livestock. This careful evaluation of goods, this unspoken agreement on their relative worth, formed the basis of trust that underpinned these early transactions. As communities grew and interactions became more frequent, bartering systems evolved, becoming more sophisticated. Certain goods, valued for their durability, portability, or scarcity, began to emerge as preferred mediums of exchange. These early forms of commodity money, though not yet standardized currency, represented a significant step forward in the evolution of trade. They hinted at a future where value could be stored, transported, and exchanged with greater ease and efficiency. While bartering served as a crucial stepping stone in the journey of monetary evolution, it wasn't without its limitations. As trade routes expanded and communities grew increasingly interconnected, the inherent flaws of bartering systems became increasingly apparent. The absence of a standardized unit of value, the challenges of divisibility, and the logistical hurdles of transporting bulky goods hampered the growth and efficiency of trade. One of the most significant drawbacks of bartering was the lack of a common unit of value. Determining a fair exchange rate between disparate goods, each with its own subjective worth, proved to be a constant challenge. How much grain, for instance, was equivalent to a handcrafted tool or a day's worth of labor? This absence of a standardized measure of value often led to disputes, disagreements, and inefficiencies in trade. The problem of divisibility further compounded the challenges of bartering. Dividing indivisible goods, such as livestock or tools, to match the value of other items was a practical impossibility. A farmer wanting to trade for a basket of fish might find himself unable to do so if the value of his smallest livestock far exceeded the worth of the desired catch. This lack of divisibility restricted the range of possible transactions, hindering the free flow of goods and services. Adding to these complexities were the logistical nightmares of transporting bulky or perishable goods. Imagine a trader traversing long distances with a flock of sheep, only to find their value diminished due to weight loss or illness during the journey. The transportation of fragile goods, susceptible to damage or spoilage, presented its own set of challenges, often rendering long-distance trade impractical or unprofitable. From the limitations of barter arose the seeds of innovation. As trade networks expanded and societies evolved, the need for a more efficient and standardized medium of exchange became increasingly apparent. This led to the emergence of commodity money objects with intrinsic value that gained widespread acceptance as a means of facilitating trade. Unlike bartered goods, whose value was subjective and often difficult to determine, commodity money possessed qualities that made it suitable as a medium of exchange. Durability, portability, divisibility, and relative scarcity were among the key characteristics that elevated certain commodities to the status of money. These early forms of currency, though a far cry from the sophisticated monetary systems of today, represented a pivotal step forward in the evolution of trade. Shells, with their durability, portability, and inherent beauty, were among the earliest and most widespread forms of commodity money. Cowrie shells in particular, with their distinctive shapes and resistance to counterfeiting, found favor in various parts of the world, from ancient China to Africa. Their use as currency persisted for centuries, a testament to their practicality and effectiveness as a medium of exchange. Salt, a vital commodity for food preservation and flavor enhancement, also emerged as a valuable form of money in various cultures. Its inherent worth, coupled with its portability and relative scarcity in certain regions, made it a sought-after commodity, readily accepted in exchange for goods and services. Salt cakes, stamped with official seals to denote their weight and purity, served as a precursor to standardized coinage. These early forms of commodity money, though rudimentary by today's standards, represented a significant leap forward from bartering. They provided a common language of value, facilitating trade and fostering economic growth. The emergence of commodity money marked a turning point in human history, paving the way for increasingly sophisticated forms of currency and the development of complex financial systems. The reign of commodity money, though seemingly simple in retrospect, marked a period of profound change in the way societies conducted trade and accumulated wealth. Shells, salt, beads, tools, and even livestock, once merely objects of practical use, were elevated to the status of currency, their value transcending their physical properties. Cowrie shells, with their durability and intricate patterns, became a ubiquitous form of currency across vast swaths of the globe. In ancient China, they were meticulously strung together, their value determined by the length and quality of the strands. African societies embraced cowrie shells as a symbol of wealth and prosperity, their use woven into the very fabric of their cultures. Salt, a precious commodity in many parts of the world, played a pivotal role in shaping trade routes and influencing the rise and fall of empires. The ancient Romans, recognizing salt's importance, paid their soldiers in salt rations, a practice that gave rise to the word salary, derived from the Latin word for salt, sal. This practice underscored salt's value as a form of currency, its importance extending far beyond its culinary uses. In North America, Native American tribes utilized wampum, intricately woven belts and strings of beads made from shells, as a form of currency and a symbol of status. These meticulously crafted objects, imbued with cultural significance, served as a testament to the craftsmanship and artistry of the tribes, their value exceeding the sum of their parts. The use of commodity money, though a significant advancement from bartering, was not without its challenges. Fluctuations in the supply and demand of these commodities could lead to instability in their value, impacting trade and economic activity. The transportation of bulky or perishable goods remained a logistical hurdle, limiting the reach of trade networks. Despite these limitations, commodity money laid the groundwork for the development of more sophisticated forms of currency, setting the stage for the next chapter in the evolution of money. Section 5. The standardization of value. The emergence of commodity money, while groundbreaking, still presented challenges. The value of a cowrie shell, for example, could fluctuate wildly depending on its size, color, and the region in which it was traded. This lack of standardization hindered the development of more complex economies. What the world needed was a form of money that was universally recognized, easily divisible, and relatively stable in value. This need for standardization marked a turning point in the history of money. Enter the invention of coins, a revolutionary concept that would reshape the world. Around the 7th century BC in the Kingdom of Lydia, present-day Turkey, the first coins were minted. These early coins, typically made of electrum, a naturally occurring alloy of gold and silver, bore the official stamp of the ruling authority, guaranteeing their weight and purity. The impact of coinage was profound. For the first time, a standardized unit of value was introduced, simplifying trade and fostering economic growth. Coins were durable, portable, easily divisible, and their value was readily recognizable, regardless of the language or culture of the trader. This standardization facilitated trade on a scale never before seen, connecting distant lands and fueling the growth of empires. The invention of coinage marked a significant shift in the relationship between money and power. The minting of coins became a prerogative of the state, granting rulers a powerful tool to control their economies and project their authority. Coins became more than just a medium of exchange. They became symbols of power, legitimacy, and national identity. The standardization of value through coinage laid the foundation for the development of more sophisticated financial systems. It paved the way for the emergence of banks, credit, and the complex financial instruments that shape our modern economies. The invention of coinage, a testament to human ingenuity, marked a pivotal moment in the evolution of money, propelling us towards a future where financial transactions would span continents and shape the destiny of nations. Section 1. The Dawn of Metal, a new era of currency. Imagine a world where the clinking of metal signifies not just craftsmanship, but wealth itself. This was the revolutionary impact of coinage, a concept that emerged from the bustling kingdom of Lydia and spread like wildfire across the ancient world. Crafted primarily from electrum, a naturally occurring blend of gold and silver, these early coins possessed an intrinsic value tied to the precious metals from which they were born. No longer were transactions bound by the inconsistencies of bartering or the fluctuating worth of commodities like shells or salt. Coins ushered in an era of standardization, a pivotal moment in the history of money. The Lydians, renowned for their trading prowess, recognized the limitations of bartering and the inherent instability of commodity money. They sought a form of currency that transcended the subjective nature of earlier mediums of exchange. Coins, stamped with the official seal of the ruling authority, provided a solution. These seals, imprinted onto the metal's surface, served as a guarantee of the coin's weight and purity, establishing a level of trust that was unprecedented in the ancient world. The impact of this innovation was nothing short of transformative. Trade, once a cumbersome dance of negotiation and compromise, became streamlined and efficient. Coins, easily divisible into smaller denominations, facilitated transactions of varying scales, from the purchase of everyday goods to large-scale trade deals that spanned continents. This newfound ease of exchange fostered economic growth, enabling merchants to expand their reach and empires to consolidate their power. The introduction of coinage marked a profound shift in the way societies viewed and interacted with money. No longer merely a medium of exchange, coins became tangible symbols of wealth, their possession a testament to one's status and prosperity. This association of coins with affluence fueled their rapid adoption, as individuals and empires alike recognized their potential to reshape the world order. Section 2. Empires of Coin, the Rise of Standardized Money. As coins flowed through trade routes, their influence extended far beyond the borders of Lydia. The Greeks, renowned for their intellectual curiosity and commercial acumen, were quick to adopt and adapt coinage to their own needs. City-states like Athens and Corinth developed their own distinct currencies, each bearing symbols and imagery that reflected their unique identities and aspirations. The Athenian silver drachma, adorned with the image of the goddess Athena, became a symbol of Athenian power and influence, its reach extending across the Mediterranean and beyond. The Spartans, known for their austerity and military prowess, initially resisted the allure of coinage, clinging to their traditional use of iron bars as a medium of exchange. This resistance, however, proved futile in the face of coinage's practicality and transformative impact on trade. The Roman Empire, destined to become one of the greatest civilizations in history, recognized the power of coinage as a tool for unification and expansion. The Roman denarius, a silver coin introduced in the 3rd century BC, became the standard currency of the Roman world, its circulation facilitating trade and commerce across the vast empire. The image of the emperor stamped onto each coin served as a constant reminder of Roman authority, solidifying the empire's grip on its conquered territories. The standardization of currency through coinage had a profound impact on the development of empires. It facilitated the collection of taxes, the payment of soldiers, and the administration of vast territories. Coins, in essence, became the lifeblood of empires, their circulation fueling economic growth and projecting power on an unprecedented scale. Section 3. Beyond Borders, Coins as Agents of Globalization. The impact of coinage extended far beyond the realms of politics and power. Coins, as they journeyed along ancient trade routes, became unlikely ambassadors of culture, their intricate designs and inscriptions carrying with them stories of distant lands and civilizations. From the bustling marketplaces of the Mediterranean to the Silk Roads that snaked across Asia, Coins facilitated not just the exchange of goods, but also the exchange of ideas, beliefs, and artistic expressions. The Silk Road, a network of trade routes that connected the East and the West for over a millennium, became a conduit for the flow of coins, along with spices, silks, and precious stones. Roman denarii, their silver surfaces gleaming under the desert sun, found their way into the hands of Chinese merchants, while Chinese bronze coins, adorned with intricate characters, made their way westward, carrying with them whispers of a civilization steeped in tradition and innovation. The exchange of coins along these routes had a profound impact on the development of art, religion, and technology. Motifs and designs from one culture found their way onto the coins of another, a testament to the cross-pollination of ideas that characterized these ancient trade networks. The spread of Buddhism along the Silk Road, for instance, was facilitated in part by the circulation of coins bearing Buddhist imagery, their presence planting seeds of faith in distant lands. Coins, in their own subtle way, played a role in shaping our globalized world. They served as tangible links between distant civilizations, their circulation fostering not just economic interdependence, but also a deeper understanding of the diverse cultures that populated the ancient world. Section 4. The Power of Trust, Coins, and the Birth of Credit. The invention of coinage not only revolutionized trade, but also laid the foundation for more sophisticated financial systems, including the emergence of credit. The trust inherent in a standardized government-backed currency allowed for the development of new financial instruments and practices that would shape the future of commerce. With coins as a reliable measure of value, merchants and individuals could engage in transactions without the immediate exchange of physical goods. This gave rise to credit, a system where goods or services could be acquired now and paid for later, based on the promise of future payment. This promise, often formalized through written contracts or agreements, relied heavily on the trust established by a standardized currency. Temples, often viewed as safe repositories of wealth and trust in ancient societies, played a crucial role in the development of early banking systems. Individuals could deposit their coins in temples for safekeeping, receiving clay tablets or other tokens as proof of their deposits. These tokens could then be used to make payments or withdraw funds, laying the groundwork for the development of more formalized banking practices. The emergence of credit fueled economic growth by allowing individuals and businesses to access capital that they might not have had readily available. This, in turn, led to increased investment, innovation, and expansion of trade. The power of trust, underpinned by a stable and reliable currency, had unleashed a new era of financial sophistication. Section 5. The Seeds of Change. Limitations of an ancient system. While coinage represented a significant leap forward in the evolution of money, it was not without its limitations. The reliance on precious metals like gold and silver meant that the value of currency was inherently tied to the availability and perceived worth of these finite resources. Discoveries of new gold or silver deposits could lead to fluctuations in the value of existing currencies, impacting trade and economic stability. Governments and rulers, tempted by the allure of quick gains, could debase their currencies by reducing the precious metal content in coins, leading to inflation and a loss of trust in the monetary system. Furthermore, the physical transportation of large quantities of coins was cumbersome and risky, making it vulnerable to theft and loss. As empires expanded and trade routes lengthened, the limitations of a purely coin-based system became increasingly apparent. The world needed a more efficient and flexible form of money to keep pace with the growing complexities of commerce and globalization. The seeds of change were sown. The limitations of a currency system based solely on precious metals, coupled with the growing demand for more efficient means of conducting transactions, set the stage for the next chapter in the evolution of money, the emergence of paper money, and the rise of sophisticated banking systems. Imagine a world where wealth could be transferred not through the weight of coins, but with the stroke of a brush on parchment. This was the revolutionary potential of paper money, an innovation that emerged from the East and would forever alter the course of financial history. It began not with the grand pronouncements of emperors, but with the practicality of merchants seeking a safer, more efficient alternative to the cumbersome transport of heavy coinage. In the 11th century China, during the Song dynasty, the concept of paper money took its first tentative steps. Merchants, burdened by the weight and risks of transporting vast quantities of copper coins, began using promissory notes as a form of IOU. These notes, initially backed by the promise of redemption in actual coins, represented a revolutionary shift in the concept of money. Value was no longer tethered solely to the intrinsic worth of precious metals, but to the trust placed in a promise, a guarantee inscribed on paper. This trust, however, was not built overnight. Early forms of paper money, often issued by private merchants or institutions, were met with skepticism and resistance. The potential for fraud, coupled with the novelty of this new form of currency, made people wary. It was only when the government, recognizing the potential of paper money to streamline trade and consolidate power, stepped in, that the tide began to turn. The Song government, facing a shortage of copper for minting coins, saw in paper money an opportunity to address a pressing economic challenge. By issuing government-backed paper money, known as jiaozi, they aimed to alleviate the coin shortage while simultaneously establishing a more efficient and controllable form of currency. This marked a pivotal moment in the history of money, as governments began to recognize and harness the power of paper money to shape their economies. As paper money gained traction, a parallel development was reshaping the financial landscape: the rise of banking houses. These institutions, initially emerging in the bustling cities of Renaissance Italy, played a crucial role in facilitating the use of paper money and establishing a more sophisticated system of credit and finance. Banking houses such as the Medici Bank in Florence offered a range of services that went far beyond the safekeeping of deposits. They facilitated money transfers across long distances, using bills of exchange precursors to modern-day checks that allowed merchants to settle debts and conduct business without the need to transport physical currency. This innovation streamlined trade and reduced the risks associated with carrying large sums of money, further fueling the growth of international commerce. These early banks also played a crucial role in the development of credit. By extending loans to merchants and individuals based on their creditworthiness, banks fueled investment, innovation, and economic expansion. The trust inherent in a system where promises to pay, backed by the reputation of banking houses, held value, created a more dynamic and interconnected financial world. The rise of banking houses marked a significant shift in the relationship between money and power. While governments still held the ultimate authority over currency, banking families like the Medicis amassed significant wealth and influence, their fortunes intertwined with the success of the financial systems they helped create. Money, once the sole domain of rulers, was becoming a powerful force in the hands of a new class of financiers and entrepreneurs. The 17th century witnessed a seismic shift in the global financial landscape. European powers, their coffers overflowing with gold and silver from their colonial exploits, faced a dilemma. The sheer volume of precious metals strained the capacity of mints, while the transport of heavy coinage across vast distances proved increasingly risky and inefficient. The solution lay in an innovation that had already taken root in the East paper money. Sweden, in 1661, became the first European country to issue government-backed banknotes. The Stockholm Banco, established as a public-private partnership, issued banknotes as a more convenient and portable alternative to bulky copper coins. This marked the beginning of a financial revolution that would sweep across Europe and beyond. England, a rising power on the world stage, followed suit in 1694 with the establishment of the Bank of England. The bank, granted a royal charter, issued banknotes backed by the government's promise to pay, a system that would become the model for central banking in the centuries to come. These banknotes, initially handwritten and redeemable in gold on demand, gradually gained acceptance as a trusted medium of exchange. The adoption of paper money had a profound impact on the global economy. It facilitated larger and more complex transactions, fueled investment and trade, and allowed governments to finance wars and expansionary policies. Money, once a tangible representation of wealth in the form of precious metals, was evolving into a more abstract concept, its value tied to the trust placed in institutions and the promises they represented. The transition from a predominantly coin-based system to one dominated by paper money was not without its challenges. The inherent trust upon which paper money relied proved to be both its strength and its vulnerability. Episodes of hyperinflation, bank runs, and financial crises served as stark reminders of the delicate balance between trust and stability in a system where the value of money was no longer tied to a tangible commodity. Despite these challenges, paper money fundamentally reshaped societies and the way they interacted with the concept of wealth. It facilitated the rise of modern capitalism, fueled industrialization, and enabled governments to exert greater control over their economies through monetary policy. The ability to print money, however, also brought with it the temptation to abuse that power, leading to debates about inflation, debt, and the role of central banks that continue to this day. The story of paper money is a testament to the evolving relationship between trust, power, and the human desire for a more efficient and interconnected world. It laid the groundwork for the digital revolution in finance that would follow centuries later, where the concept of money would once again be redefined in the digital realm. Picture a world where the fate of nations, the ebb and flow of economies were tethered to a gleaming metal gold. This was the era of the gold standard, a system that emerged in the 19th century, promising stability and a universal language of value in an increasingly interconnected world. Gold, with its enduring allure, its historical association with wealth and power, seemed like the perfect anchor for a global financial system, grappling with the challenges of industrialization and expanding trade. The allure of gold was nothing new. For centuries it had served as a symbol of prosperity, its inherent value recognized across cultures and civilizations. But it was in the 19th century, as nations industrialized and trade networks expanded, that gold emerged as the bedrock of a new global financial order. The gold standard, formally adopted by many major economies in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, established a fixed exchange rate between a country's currency and a specific quantity of gold. This meant that in theory, any currency on the gold standard could be exchanged for its equivalent value in gold, creating a system of fixed exchange rates that facilitated international trade and investment. This system brought about a period of relative stability and predictability in the global economy. The fixed exchange rates reduced uncertainty for businesses engaged in international trade, while the discipline imposed by the gold standard governments were obligated to back their currencies with gold reserves, helped to curb inflation, and maintain fiscal responsibility. The gold standard, however, was not without its critics. Some argued that it hindered economic growth by limiting the ability of governments to manage their money supply and respond to economic downturns. Others pointed out that the system favored countries with large gold reserves, giving them disproportionate influence over the global financial system. Despite these criticisms, the gold standard for a time reigned supreme, its golden glow casting a long shadow over the world economy. The aftermath of World War II left the global economy in tatters. The once mighty gold standard, battered by the economic turmoil of two world wars and the Great Depression, lay in ruins. A new world order was emerging, and with it, a need for a new financial system that could foster stability, cooperation, and growth in a world yearning for peace and prosperity. From the ashes of war, a new monetary order arose, the Bretton Woods Agreement. In 1944, as the tide of World War II began to turn, delegates from 44 allied nations gathered in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, with a shared goal to create a new international monetary system that would prevent a repeat of the economic chaos that had plagued the world in the preceding decades. The agreement they forged, known as the Bretton Woods Agreement, laid the foundation for a new era of global financial cooperation, with the US dollar taking center stage as the world's reserve currency. Under the Bretton Woods system, the US dollar became the anchor currency, its value fixed to gold at a rate of $35 per ounce. Other participating countries then pegged their currencies to the US dollar, creating a system of fixed exchange rates that aimed to promote stability and facilitate international trade. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank, institutions created under the Bretton Woods Agreement played crucial roles in overseeing the new system, providing financial assistance to countries facing economic difficulties and promoting international monetary cooperation. The Bretton Woods system ushered in a period of unprecedented economic growth and stability, particularly for the war-torn economies of Europe and Japan. International trade flourished, investment flowed across borders, and the global economy experienced a golden age of expansion. The Bretton Woods system, however, was not without its limitations. The system relied heavily on the stability of the US dollar and the willingness of the United States to maintain its gold reserves and act as the lender of last resort to the world. As the 1960s wore on, however, the US economy came under increasing strain, fueled by the costs of the Vietnam War and domestic social programs. The fixed exchange rate system, once a pillar of stability, began to crumble under the weight of these imbalances, setting the stage for a seismic shift in the global financial order. The year 1971 marked a turning point in the history of money. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, in a televised address that sent shockwaves through the global financial system, announced the end of the dollar's convertibility to gold, effectively dismantling the Bretton Woods system and ushering in a new era of floating exchange rates. This decision, known as the Nixon shock, was a response to growing economic pressures on the United States. Declining gold reserves, a burgeoning trade deficit, and rising inflation threatened the dollar's preeminence as the world's reserve currency. By severing the dollar's link to gold, Nixon hoped to regain control over U.S. monetary policy and address these mounting economic challenges. The immediate impact of the Nixon shock was a wave of uncertainty and volatility in global financial markets. Currencies fluctuated wildly as the fixed exchange rate system crumbled, and concerns about inflation and the future of the global monetary order gripped investors and policymakers alike. The era of the gold standard, which had guided the world economy for decades, was over, replaced by a new system of floating exchange rates where the value of currencies would be determined by market forces. This shift to floating exchange rates, while initially turbulent, had a profound and lasting impact on the global economy. It allowed countries greater flexibility in managing their monetary policies, freeing them from the constraints of a fixed exchange rate system. However, it also introduced a new element of volatility and uncertainty into the global financial system, as currency values fluctuated in response to economic conditions, political events, and investor sentiment. The demise of the Bretton Woods system marked the dawn of the fiat currency era, a system where the value of money is no longer tied to a physical commodity like gold, but rests solely on the trust and confidence of the public in the issuing government. This shift, while seemingly abstract, has had profound implications for the way we think about money, power, and the role of governments in our lives. Fiat currency, unlike its gold-backed predecessors, is not constrained by the finite supply of a physical commodity. Governments have the ability to print more money, adjust interest rates, and implement monetary policies to manage their economies. This flexibility, however, comes with its own set of risks. The temptation to print excessive amounts of money to finance government spending or address economic crises can lead to inflation, eroding the purchasing power of currency and undermining public trust in the monetary system. The history of fiat currencies is littered with examples of hyperinflation, where the value of money collapses, leading to economic chaos and social unrest. The Weimar Republic in Germany in the 1920s, Zimbabwe in the 2000s, and Venezuela in recent years stand as stark reminders of the dangers of unchecked money printing and the importance of maintaining public trust in a fiat currency system. Despite these risks, fiat currencies remain the dominant form of money in the world today. Their flexibility, combined with the backing of governments and the infrastructure of central banks, has allowed them to adapt to the evolving needs of the global economy. However, the challenges of managing fiat currencies responsibly, ensuring price stability, and maintaining public trust in a system where the value of money is ultimately based on faith, remain pressing concerns for policymakers and citizens alike. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed a technological revolution that would reshape the very fabric of society, and the world of finance was not immune to its transformative power. As transistors gave way to microchips, and computers shrunk from room-sized behemoths to desktop companions, the stage was set for a new era in banking, one where the click of a mouse and the tap of a keyboard would replace the rustle of banknotes and the clinking of coins. The first tremors of this digital earthquake were felt in the 1950s with the introduction of the first credit cards. Diners Club, followed closely by American Express, pioneered this novel concept, offering cardholders the ability to make purchases on credit, settling their accounts at a later date. This marked a significant departure from the traditional cash-based system, introducing the allure of buy now, pay later convenience that would reshape consumer spending habits in the decades to come. The 1960s witnessed the arrival of the automated teller machine, or ATM, a technological marvel that liberated banking from the confines of brick-and-mortar branches and the constraints of business hours. Suddenly, customers could access their accounts, withdraw cash, and perform basic banking transactions at any time of day or night, simply by inserting a plastic card and entering a PIN code. This convenience revolutionized the banking experience, paving the way for a future where financial transactions could take place anywhere, anytime. As the digital revolution gathered pace, banks began to embrace computerization, replacing paper ledgers and manual record-keeping with electronic systems that promised greater efficiency, accuracy, and security. This shift, however, was not without its challenges. Early computer systems, often plagued by technical glitches and security vulnerabilities, served as a reminder that the transition to a digital financial system would be fraught with both promise and peril. A world without cash. The allure and illusion of plastic. The 1980s witnessed the rise of the debit card, a technological innovation that further blurred the lines between the physical and digital realms of money. Unlike credit cards, which extended credit to cardholders, debit cards were directly linked to bank accounts, allowing users to make purchases and withdraw cash electronically, deducting funds from their accounts in real time. This instant access to funds, coupled with the growing acceptance of electronic payments, fueled the popularity of debit cards, transforming them from a novelty to a staple of everyday life. As the use of plastic cards proliferated, a profound shift in consumer behavior was underway. The tangible act of exchanging physical cash for goods and services was gradually replaced by the swipe of a card, a seemingly effortless transaction that belied the complex electronic networks and financial institutions working behind the scenes to make it all possible. This shift from a cash-based to a cashless society, however, was not without its consequences. The allure of convenience and the illusion of seamlessness masked the growing reliance on credit and the potential for overspending that came with it. Credit card debt soared as consumers, enticed by easy credit and the ability to delay gratification, found themselves trapped in a cycle of debt and interest payments. The very technology that promised to simplify financial transactions had, in some ways, made it easier to lose track of spending and fall into a debt trap. Furthermore, the shift towards a cashless society raised concerns about privacy and security. Every transaction, every purchase left a digital trail, a record of our spending habits and preferences that could be tracked, analyzed, and potentially exploited by governments, corporations, and malicious actors. The very technology that promised to empower consumers with convenience and efficiency also had the potential to erode privacy and create new avenues for surveillance and control. The digital river money flows online. The 1990s witnessed the birth of the internet, a technological leap forward that would connect billions of people across the globe and usher in a new era of digital innovation. The world of finance, once confined to the physical realms of banks, stock exchanges, and financial institutions, was about to be swept up in the digital tide, transforming the way we invest, trade, and manage our money. Early pioneers, recognizing the internet's potential to democratize access to financial services, launched online brokerages and trading platforms, allowing individuals to buy and sell stocks, bonds, and other financial instruments from the comfort of their own homes. This disintermediation, cutting out the traditional middlemen of finance, empowered individual investors and challenged the established order of Wall Street. The dot-com boom of the late 1990s, fueled by exuberance over the internet's transformative potential, saw a surge in online financial activity, with countless startups and established companies alike rushing to establish an online presence. While the subsequent dot-com bust served as a stark reminder that the internet was not immune to the booms and busts of traditional markets, it also highlighted the enduring power of online financial services and the growing appetite for digital financial solutions. As the internet matured, so too did online banking services. Banks, recognizing the need to adapt to the changing demands of their customers, began offering online banking platforms that allowed account holders to check balances, transfer funds, pay bills, and perform a growing array of financial transactions from their computers, and later, their smartphones. The convenience of 24/7 access to banking services, coupled with the growing ubiquity of internet-connected devices, fueled the rapid adoption of online banking, transforming it from a niche service to a mainstream expectation. Genesis of a revolution: the Bitcoin white paper. As the dust settled on the financial crisis of 2008, a sense of disillusionment with traditional financial systems permeated the air. The very institutions that had promised stability and prosperity had instead brought the world to the brink of collapse. Amidst this atmosphere of distrust and uncertainty, a spark of innovation ignited, a digital manifesto that would challenge the very foundations of the global financial order. In October 2008, a pseudonymous individual, or group of individuals, operating under the name Satoshi Nakamoto, published a white paper titled Bitcoin, a Peer-to-Peer Electronic Cash System. This 9-page document, written in a technical yet accessible style, laid out a vision for a decentralized digital currency, one that would operate independently of governments, central banks, and traditional financial intermediaries. Bitcoin, as Nakamoto envisioned it, would empower individuals with financial sovereignty, allowing them to transact directly with one another, bypassing the gatekeepers of the traditional financial system. The timing of the white paper's release was no coincidence. The global financial crisis, triggered by a toxic mix of subprime mortgages, reckless lending practices, and lax regulation, had exposed the fragility of the existing financial system and the dangers of placing too much trust in centralized institutions. Bitcoin, with its promise of decentralization, transparency, and security, offered a radical alternative, a way to escape the clutches of a financial system that seemed rigged against the average person. At the heart of Bitcoin's innovation lay a revolutionary technology: blockchain. This ingenious system, described in detail in Nakamoto's white paper, would serve as the foundation for Bitcoin and countless other cryptocurrencies to come. The blockchain, essentially a decentralized and immutable ledger, would record every Bitcoin transaction, not in a single location controlled by a central authority, but across a distributed network of computers, making it virtually impossible to tamper with or manipulate. This decentralized nature, coupled with the cryptographic security measures built into the Bitcoin protocol, promised a level of security and resilience that had eluded traditional financial systems. Bitcoin, for the first time, offered the possibility of a truly global peer-to-peer electronic cash system, one that could operate outside the control of governments and financial institutions. Section 2. Decentralized and unstoppable: the power of blockchain. The blockchain, hailed as one of the most significant technological innovations since the internet, is the backbone of Bitcoin, and the foundation upon which countless other cryptocurrencies and blockchain-based applications have been built. To understand the revolutionary potential of cryptocurrencies, one must first grasp the elegant simplicity and robust security of the blockchain. Imagine a digital ledger, a record of transactions, not stored in a single location, but distributed across a vast network of computers. This distributed ledger, the blockchain, is constantly updated and synchronized, with each new block of transactions added to the chain through a process known as mining. Miners, using specialized hardware and software, compete to solve complex mathematical problems, essentially racing to add the next block of transactions to the blockchain. The first miner to solve the problem gets to add their block to the chain and is rewarded with newly created bitcoins. This process, known as proof of work, ensures the security and integrity of the blockchain. Each block in the chain is cryptographically linked to the previous block, creating an immutable record of every transaction that has ever taken place on the network. This means that to alter a single transaction, one would have to alter every subsequent block in the chain, a task that would require an insurmountable amount of computing power and energy, making the blockchain virtually tamper-proof. The decentralized nature of the blockchain further enhances its security and resilience. With no single point of failure, no central authority that can be compromised or corrupted, the blockchain is incredibly difficult to shut down or control. This makes Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies resistant to censorship, fraud, and government interference. The transparency of the blockchain is another key feature that sets it apart from traditional financial systems. Every transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain, for example, is viewable by anyone with an internet connection. This open and transparent nature fosters accountability and trust, as all participants have access to the same information. The blockchain, with its unique combination of decentralization, security, and transparency, has the potential to revolutionize not just finance, but a wide range of industries and applications. From supply chain management to voting systems, from healthcare records to digital identity, the possibilities are vast and still being explored. The blockchain, born out of a desire to create a more equitable and resilient financial system, has become a technological force to be reckoned with, its impact likely to be felt for generations to come. Section 3. Beyond Bitcoin, the altcoin explosion. The success of Bitcoin, both as a technological innovation and as a digital asset that captured the imagination of investors and enthusiasts worldwide, sparked a wave of innovation in the cryptocurrency space. Hundreds, if not thousands, of new cryptocurrencies known as altcoins emerged, each with its own unique features, functionalities, and aspirations. Some altcoins sought to improve upon Bitcoin's design, offering faster transaction speeds, lower fees, or enhanced privacy features. Others explored entirely new use cases for blockchain technology, creating platforms for decentralized applications, smart contracts, and digital assets that went beyond simple currency. Litecoin, one of the earliest and most successful altcoins, emerged in 2011 as a lighter and faster alternative to Bitcoin. With a shorter block generation time and a different hashing algorithm, Litecoin aimed to provide faster transaction confirmations and a more scalable network. Ethereum, launched in 2015, took the concept of blockchain beyond digital currency, introducing the concept of smart contracts. Self-executing contracts with the terms of the agreement written directly into lines of code. This innovation opened up a world of possibilities for decentralized applications, from supply chain management to prediction markets, all built on top of the Ethereum blockchain. Ripple, another prominent altcoin, targeted the global payments industry, offering a blockchain-based solution for fast and low-cost cross-border payments. Unlike Bitcoin's decentralized ethos, Ripple partnered with banks and financial institutions, aiming to improve the efficiency of their existing payment infrastructure rather than replacing it entirely. The proliferation of altcoins led to a vibrant and often volatile cryptocurrency market. New coins and tokens were launched almost daily, each vying for attention and investment. This Cambrian explosion of innovation, while exciting for enthusiasts and investors, also raised concerns about scams, speculation, and the lack of regulation in this nascent market. As the cryptocurrency market matured, certain trends emerged. Stablecoins, pegged to the value of fiat currencies like the US dollar, gained popularity as a way to mitigate the volatility of other cryptocurrencies. Privacy coins, designed to enhance anonymity and obscure transaction details, attracted users concerned about privacy and government surveillance. The world of altcoins, once a niche market dominated by tech enthusiasts and early adopters, was becoming increasingly mainstream, attracting the attention of institutional investors, governments, and everyday users drawn to the potential of this transformative technology. Section 1. The Enduring Allure of Innovation. Our journey through the evolution of money has taken us across continents and millennia, from the barter systems of ancient civilizations to the digital frontiers of cryptocurrency. We've witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of new technologies, and the enduring human desire to find better, more efficient ways to exchange value and build prosperous societies. The story of money, however, is far from over. It's a story that continues to unfold with each passing day, driven by the same forces of innovation, adaptation, and the pursuit of progress that have shaped its course throughout history. From the humble cowrie shell to the ubiquitous credit card, each innovation in the history of money has challenged the status quo, disrupted established systems, and expanded our understanding of what money can be. The invention of coinage, for instance, not only streamlined trade but also centralized power, giving rise to empires and shaping the geopolitical landscape for centuries. The emergence of paper money, initially met with skepticism and resistance, revolutionized finance, facilitating the rise of modern banking systems and fueling global trade on an unprecedented scale. The digital revolution, which has upended countless industries, is now transforming the very fabric of money itself. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, built on the revolutionary technology of blockchain, offer a glimpse into a future where financial transactions can be decentralized, transparent, and secure, potentially empowering individuals and challenging the dominance of traditional financial institutions. The path from shells to Satoshi has been long and winding, marked by both brilliant leaps forward and cautionary tales of financial instability and the abuse of power. The future of money is uncertain, as it always has been, but one thing is clear: the human desire to innovate, to explore new frontiers, and to create a more equitable and prosperous world will continue to shape the evolution of money, driving us towards a future where the possibilities are as limitless as our imagination. Section 2. The Future of Money, a Digital Odyssey. We stand at the cusp of a new era in finance, one where the lines between the physical and digital realms of money are becoming increasingly blurred. Cryptocurrencies, once a niche technology championed by tech enthusiasts and libertarians, are entering the mainstream, capturing the attention of institutional investors, governments, and everyday users drawn to their potential to reshape the global financial system. The question is no longer whether digital currencies will play a role in the future of money, but rather what that role will be. Will cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, with their decentralized ethos and promise of financial sovereignty, upend traditional banking systems and empower individuals to take control of their financial destinies? Or will central bank digital currencies, government-backed digital tokens that combine the convenience of digital payments with the control and oversight of central authorities, become the dominant form of money in the digital age? The answers to these questions are far from certain. The future of money is likely to be shaped by a complex interplay of technological innovation, geopolitical forces, and evolving consumer preferences. One thing is clear: the pace of innovation in the financial technology space is accelerating. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data analytics are being deployed to enhance financial inclusion, automate trading, and create personalized financial products and services tailored to the unique needs of individual users. The lines between traditional financial institutions and fintech startups are blurring, as banks partner with or acquire innovative companies to stay ahead of the curve. The future of money is not just about technology, however. It's also about trust. The financial crises of recent decades have eroded public trust in traditional financial institutions, creating an opening for alternative systems that promise greater transparency, accountability, and fairness. Whether these promises can be fulfilled remains to be seen. The future of money is ultimately in our hands. As individuals, investors, and citizens, we have the power to shape the financial systems of tomorrow through our choices, our investments, and our demands for a more equitable and sustainable financial future. From the ancient marketplaces where shells and salt were traded to the digital exchanges where cryptocurrencies change hands at lightning speed, the story of money is a testament to human ingenuity, our relentless pursuit of progress, and our enduring belief in the power of innovation to shape a better world. The next chapter in this extraordinary saga is still being written, and we are all invited to participate. The future of money is not a destination, but a journey, an ongoing exploration of what money can be, and the role it will play in our ever-evolving world.